Welcome to the Nehemiah Business Lifecycle Podcast. I'm Patrice Tsague, your host. I'm here today with the 2025 Business Plan Competition winner. This is the final wrap for Nehemiah Week today. If you've missed Nehemiah Week, you missed it. You're going to hopefully see you next year. But they are being recorded. Just reach out to our office and talk with them about signing up and getting the recording so you can be able to check them out. But wow, you are the 2024 winner, Mr. Louis Njoroge. How are you, man?
I'm great. I'm grateful, Patrice. Thank you. I feel like every single water in my body is now able to rest, knowing that it's home. So I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling energized. Like it's a rebirth to it.
Oh
So
my goodness. First of all, I've watched your presentation. I was so impressed. And I was like, wow. And I knew it was either you or India. I think it's interesting. You both went education. But yours was just at a whole nother level. And so, and so I think that I can see why the judges pick you. And you've been around for a while. You have clients. But so first, let's start first before we get into your business. Coming into this, the International Business Plan Competition, Kenya has won 4 years in a row. How much pressure was on you not to be the one to break the winning streak?
So to start off, I think the journey began way back when I actually enrolled into the program myself. And to it, there was just one simple thing that Coach drew on his wall, and it struck me to realize that I don't know nothing about business, having done it for quite a while. And it actually then walked towards the path of trying to understand what I'm actually doing. And so the first competition in our cohort, that one in itself was already pressure enough, because then the cohort had very good members in it. Then Kenya came, and again, the same water, again, like you seriously are unable to process the thought that comes with presenting your business in front of people and trying to speak to it like it is, and not even budging from the fact that this is what you're working on every single day. And then coming to the international forum, where Kenya has won for four consecutive times. So I'll tell you, my predecessors had a tough time on me, because they always reminded me that if I don't bring this home, it either means I relocate or something is going to happen to me. So I actually had to put it in and work harder. Coach was actually the one with more pressure than I did, because I kept telling him, Coach, I'm actually doing this business every day. So why do we need to prep it up? So, but I can say for sure, the pressure in itself was deserving, because the hunger to win created our continuous persistence towards the build out of what we shared. It's a testimony of what we are doing. So there is no story to it besides the fact that it's the journey we've taken and it's the journey we are going to. So I can tell you, besides the pressure, it's something else.
There's a commonality among all the Kenyan winners, you being the fifth one, is this level of confidence and gravitas. I mean, it's almost like the Kenya Biblical Entrepreneurship Program. That process, only the cream rises, and everybody has said it's a very competitive process just to get to national. Is that part of does that process kind of what prepares you even for international?
Yes, it's actually it, because like I said, when I first walked into Coach's office, I had no idea of the moment he wrote the steps of business, and he grayed out sustainability and asked me, Lewis, where do you think you are? that in itself was the entry towards this very process. And like you've correctly stated, the emergence of winners within our country is primarily based on the bringing in experienced businesses to speak to the very elements of the coaching process itself. And beyond that, trying to always practice through what you learn. And so it's not just a question of learning what you get, it's also putting it into practice. So I think that in itself creates not only a competitive conversation towards the international level, but also the preparedness in executing a kingdom business and a business that is also able to grow to the next generation. So I think for me, it's all in the first step. How do you actually begin coaching? What drives you into it? And then from that, you're able to continuously mount on new badges that then continuously increment and continuously reveal you as a better competitive individual in front of a panel. So I think that's about it. Yeah.
I love it. Well, Louis, if once you get to full sustainability, you have margin. I'd like to get you as a coach with us because you sound like a great trainer and coach yourself. I love it. So let's talk a bit about your business. So again, we're talking to Louis, the CEO and founder, I think co-founder, right? You have co-founders and
Co-founder.
co-founder of Zizi. They are really a software company with an emphasis on education, really helping schools perform better. Oh, there is the winning coach, man, Frank. It is starting to be embarrassing, man. I mean, you at this point, it's embarrassing. I mean, you keep winning. Well, before we go over with how do you feel, Coach? Frank, you're muted. We cannot hear you. Your audio. Well, while Frank's getting his audio fixed. Today was our international business plan competition where there were several competitors. There was Louis, who represented Kenya. His company is Zizi, actually, let me read this actually. It's an all-in-one school automation platform with a mission to offer transformative education experience through an exclusive learning ecosystem that empowers students, engages parents, and impact communities. And then you also have Annie Jabin from India, representing Asia Pacific. She's the founder of Life School with her and her husband. And that is also in education. The company looks to train and equip teachers to provide holistic education to children and teachers, preparing them to be well-rounded adults individually, physically, intellectually, socially, emotionally, and financially. And then we also had Emanuela Samba. She's from France, Paris. She's the founder and CEO of Chrono Consultancy, and she is pretty much, her company is a consulting and coaching organization where she serves the individuals with and companies, with strategic development, consultancy, and coaching. She makes it a point to strive for excellence, innovation, all that she does. And then we have Jorge Diaz, the CEO of Jazzvac, and he is a socially responsible real estate company that innovates uninhabited properties and makes them sellable. So these are who he went against, and the first place was of course Louis. Second place was Annie, and then Jorge took third place. This is Kenya's fifth time in taking on first place by the winningest coach, Coach Frank Itanga. Coach, can you hear us now? Are you able to talk?
Frank? Yes, I can. A bit of a noisy background, but yes, I can.
Well, Frank, congratulations. Well deserved. So how do you feel, man?
Michael W. Smith was asked about that, about all these Grammy Awards that he was given. And I like his answer. He says, one more trophy to take to the cross. All glory and honor belongs to the Lord. To be honest, this is a community putting it together. Lewis working hard. Normally, by the time I come for this show, Patrice, with the competitors who've won, they kind of my enemies just before the competition. But then they enjoy the winning after. So me and Lewis making up, becoming friends.
Wow. But that's what good coaches do, right? I mean, good coaches, their students or their clients don't always like them because you push them, you push them, you push them.
But for me, to be honest, Patrice, and thanks to your leadership and consistency, I have learned a lot from you. I've learned a lot from you.
Well, the students have overtaken the master.
and that tells you that the master is a good master.
Amen. I received that. Wow. So so Louis, tell us a bit about Mzizi, the company. You know, what is it? I know it's a software. Tell us about what's your magic. Tell us about the company.
So Mzizi primarily is software. We literally are a software company. We actually run by the name of Altitude Tech Limited. So we are a tech firm, and Mzizi is just but one of our startup. It's actually our flagship product, to which we build it towards providing technological services to schools. And so it's in the journey towards building services for schools, especially from a tech standpoint, that then we found ourselves continuously investing time to building a robust ecosystem in a technology. So creating an all-in-one service so that you have a single source of truth in running the business. And so for us, for this particular journey, actually it began with my partner Simon, and it all began in campus. So in the corridors, in the dormitories, and trying to understand what the lecturer is actually doing. That's where the journey of this particular build-up came from, where a customer approached us, and that customer is still with us to today. So. And I can tell you that, continuous investment and reinvestment into the business and moving it from just a simple side hustle all the way to building an ecosystem around it that can be able to actually address a key need within our industry is what we've actually worked towards. And our team has led us to that very vision as well. So I'm proud to say,
And you have a number of, how many schools do you serve right now?
So today we are serving around 137 group of schools. So primarily private schools. These accounts to around 300 plus branches. So multiple campuses across an institution, multiple curriculum structures. So you'll find a university, a college, a K-12 institution as well within our portfolio. And we've continuously impacted students. So for us, the impact towards education is key to us, because then it's actually why any school begins the journey to that very investment. And so we have around 80,000 students already impacted through this very technology as well.
And education is a big need in Africa, and also a big business opportunity. Is one of the businesses that there's a repeatable success model across Africa, families who are doing it, because the public sector won't go offering good education. Is that true?
It is. So Africa, we have numerous models towards education. So you have government and what the government invests into it, which is in the comfort of ensuring that there is accessibility and equitable education access to all. Then there is the primary investment by a parent towards private learning. And that's where then parents would actually invest, like I said, around 40% of their monthly income towards child learning. And that's where they would take them to private schools. And then the aftermath of education, which is now getting into the workplace. And the conversation there is also a little bit sketchy for our economy, because then we have so many students getting out of school, but then they don't have jobs for being that they don't even know the journey towards either one, building a business, or two, how to actually get employed. So for us, it's literally within that very ecosystem that we are at, and also asking the question of what really makes students drop out of schools. And that for us is a key problem, because then it affects the accessibility and empowerment of students towards their lifetime impact within the communities they serve. Yeah.
Wow, I love it. You know, as one who was born in Africa myself, though I grew up privileged, I saw the power of education. Kids who were poor, who back in those days, because of education, they evolved in social ranking, and that was powerful. Where I had friends who we had money, they didn't, but because they applied themselves academically, right? There was this path for them that the culture, the society rewarded, and you literally saw in a generation economic shifts and social progress purely because of education. It was the equalizer. That, as a matter of fact, whether your parents were wealthy or not, it didn't matter, because there was a clear path that where money didn't influence it. It was just brain and sheer work. Is that still the case? At least that was the case in Cameroon. Is that still the case now in Africa?
It is actually. Kenya, to be specific, here you'll hear a motto go that the education is the key to success, right? So that single motto will be told to you from childhood all the way to adulthood. And you could actually see it in various steps to which people have taken through the education journey. And beyond that, remember, here in Africa, we financial inclusivity is one of our key problems. Poverty is a key problem within the African market. And so where education comes to provide, to fill the gap, it's in the provision of impact conversations. We say we have something called black tax in Africa, where every one person supports around 7 people around them. So, and it's a reality in our society. So it's only with education that then you're able to unlock this black tax and create a solution that is long-lasting beyond yourself. And so it's quite important to literally address the education, because education in itself, it's the only thing that can be able to impact the community.
Yeah. I love it. Scott, Frank, anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, Patrice, I want to say it's unbelievable, to be honest with you, what education can do for a family here. As in, Patrice, you can see one guy, the whole family. I can give you a story of my father, Patrice. My father was primarily educated by the village, literally. And it is people like him and his friends who now became the leaders of the community. They are the elders of the community. Because now, after the community educated you, the community came to you and said, now our son, leaders on technology, leaders on what should we put in our gardens or in our farms, how should we take care of our animals. And then those guys, that generation that was primarily, they went to school really with no shoes, became our fathers. And Patrice, what happens generation after generation, we are growing, we are becoming better. My children are being exposed at a higher level. So what's happening? Because of education, generation after generation, Africa is catching up with the world, Patrice.
Wow.
And some of the problems you say, oh, leadership is such an issue, corruption, it's just lack of education. And not in the sense, Patrice, that people don't know, but the evolving, because if there are only few people educated, then they can take advantage of everybody. But like in Kenya, Patrice, we have one of the highest literacy levels in the world, which is over 88%. That is very, very high, sometimes higher than, I think in the US it's lower. And I want to be careful so that you don't shoot me.
No, you're pretty high. I mean, your education, yeah, Kenyans.
But it doesn't show yet, but it will come. US is where it is 200 years later. we are less than 100 years, we're less than 60 years. And so in my view, the more we educate Africa, the more we invest in Africa. Now we have the Gen Z, Patrice, going to the streets. Why? Because they are educated about their rights. There's education about what should you do when you're unhappy. How can you do it peacefully? How can you do it? And you can see that they're doing it peacefully without trying to rob people, trying to do it. What's going on, Patrice? People are coming to a place of understanding. This is why education is such a huge thing for Africa.
I love it. Now, this is a business this is what we call a quadruple bottom line: people, planet, profit, and eternity. So, Louis, what stage are you in right now? Are you at your profitability, or are you still at startup based on our definition, or are you at break even?
So we are at profitability, working towards sustainability, because then it's at this very stage that which we are able to reinvest again into the business to actually strengthen our profitability margins. We've already gotten market validation. We've been able to sustain our business as it is over the years. So yeah, so it's literally a jump from profitability into sustainability.
Awesome. So how did you find Frank?
As a person or as a coach?
As a coach, how did you get into the book entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so for me, Frank was very instrumental. As a person, he's a very good guy. I have learned to actually appreciate every single conversation we've had. The late night calls we have around trying to redefine what we're doing and re-understand the very principles of business in the betterment of our growth. That has been really instrumental. And to the coaching element, I think for me, what has stood out is that it's not only just a question of him being instrumental in the coaching, is the people that he's invested, the community he's invested in towards being instrumental in the coaching itself. So if I'm to talk to legal aspects, I'll not have Frank tell me legal because he might not be proficient at it, but he would be able to bring in someone who actually practices in the very space. So that in itself is a demonstration of wanting to work with others, and partnership being one of the key strengths and suits towards this very business space he's at. It's able to influence a lot of businesses. So I can tell for sure there's a longer journey ahead and a lot more caps to come back to Africa. I think you might end up just having us retain them for the long haul.
I love it because essentially what you're saying is more than just by the training you receive or the coaching you receive, but it was the community ecosystem that he's put in place. That's what we are called Nehemiah Entrepreneurship Community. And entrepreneurs thrive in an ecosystem with all the various support around them. What's the biggest impact this has had on you and your business?
So I'll begin with the identity and destiny. For me, the identification of who I am was very instrumental. Never had learned anything that tried to have me ask the question of what makes you tick, and that was the first principle to which this was very instrumental in my growth as a person. Towards my family as well, the definition of what values stand out in me. And someone once told me the ethics of a business are demonstrable in the founders themselves. Mm-hmm. And so it's in those very values that then I've also been able to see my team grow, and heavy from the sense that we are able to redefine the why we do things, entrenching our values as a key measurable outcome in our every month and deliverable milestone. And beyond that, trying to grow as an entrepreneur, because that in itself has been very, very instrumental, to the point where, as recent as yesterday, I had a chance to actually speak to other founders about managing runway, a simple conversation that is so unfamiliar to many. So that is all from just beginning the journey of understanding entrepreneurship with a biblical sense at it. So I think for me, this was a masterclass that I wouldn't have gotten in a master's program or a PhD program. So I know what I'll want to then do in my PhD from having done this already.
I love it. We're talking with Louis, the founder of Mzizi, the co-founder, and Frank Itanga, the center director and country director for Kenya, the Nairobi Center, and also he's leading in Africa. For the fifth time in a row, Frank has produced a champion. So fifth person back to back, and this is the 2024 champion. You are listening to the Nehemiah Business Lifecycle Podcast, where we feature entrepreneurs at different business stages and provide you resources and inspiration to move from one stage to the next. Listen, if you want to know more about the Nehemiah Nairobi Center and the work that we're doing there, just go right now to, actually, Frank, you have your website, right? Go to the Nairobi Center has a website, isn't it?
Yeah, so they're going to share it shortly. NehemiahEcommunity.com/Kenya.
Yeah.
And you can book a session with us right there. That's our office number there. Patrice, I wanted to make a quick comment because I know we're about to close.
Yes.
You challenged me about something in this journey. We've known each other about 7.
You're muted, Frank. I'm not sure. Something muted you automatically. We cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry. So you challenged me about poverty mentality. So I was thinking, should I win the 5th time, Patrice? Why even try? Because it's hard work. And so an inspiration hit me the other day, Patrice. And you know what happened?
What?
I watched the US basketball team go for their 5th win with everything they got, Patrice. They had a pre-match with one of the teams was Southern Sudan, and they won by a whisker, literally, Patrice, by a whisker. And in fact, the Southern Sudanese team lost the last second shot, which if they made it, it would have been Southern Sudan beats US. So they came to the game with one mindset. We win. We are Americans. We are the best NBA team in the world. We win. And Patricia said, why am I apologizing?
That's right. That's right. No, that's and when you have a winning momentum, and Frank, what you've also done because of your personal drive, you created a culture of winners. Right. So it's bigger than even you. It's about inspiring a culture of winning, and that becomes something catchy, becomes in the water, right? Everybody. So no, keep winning, brother, because this is your season. Ride it as long as you can. So with that in mind, Frank, let me go back to Louis again. Louis, did you essentially this year was technology our theme? Did you attend any activities, any other conferences other than today?
Yes, I did. I actually attended yesterday. The investment.
How was that for you? Are you looking at the one that raised capital, and how was that experience for you?
Yeah, so I am actually looking to raise capital, and primarily because of the problem gap within our market, especially. We want to have customer acquisition as our biggest forefront. Having invested heavy on market fit, now we are looking to actually scale outward, region-wise, and also within the very market we are in, and increase our depth within our customer base. And also beyond that, we've identified the problem around financial barriers, having children be away from school, especially being that 1 in every 12 parents is borrowing to see their child in school. And that in itself is a problem, because then the financial costs to borrow is very expensive within a market. So seeing that we're able to create a purpose-led credit will be very instrumental to our growth, and also impacting the very society we are in. So for us, how
much are you trying to raise?
So we are raising $2 million, and it's in 2 instruments. We're raising 500 in equity. That's a safe instrument, and 1.5 in debt. And for us, it will be in milestone based. We don't mind it in milestone based, based on the fact that it's a trajectory of growth. But we can see a runway of around 18 months coming in through the equity stake. And for the debt, we actually have a return on investment to around 11% per annum with regards to the debt raise that we get.
I love it. You have another chicken candidate, Frank. So how was the experience yesterday for you?
Oh yeah, so the 12 C's. So that for me was everything: the Great Command, the Great Commission. Yeah, for me, creativity. Yeah, there was so many traction. That for me, I really resonated with the minds of an investor and kingdom investor, especially. And the principles to what then is your bigger call to what you're doing, because then that's what the investor will be looking out for. So it was a good learning as well, and trying to put myself in the eyes of an investor. So it was really awesome. And I think we need the next time we need to actually be able to interview the investors as well.
I love it. That is good. So, Frank, you're creating a pipeline, not just of winners, but we only see the winners, but you got a community of entrepreneurs that you're bringing up there. You're creating an ecosystem there. So what's ahead for the Nairobi Center?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to appreciate Lewis. I didn't get a chance to say, man, I congratulate you. I'm absolutely proud of you. You did it. You did it. You said you'll do it, and you did it. Patrice, we've had many ladies win. It's good to see the boys show up.
I know.
You know? And so, congratulations, Lewis. I am absolutely proud of you. I cannot tell you how much. Thank you for the hard work you put in, and you did that. Patrice, my heart goes for the young people of Africa. It's time that we did something permanent. What I saw from Lewis, the young man from video who did our digital tour, and the work we're beginning to do with the young biblical entrepreneur, to be honest, my heart beats for what that means. Right now, we've been here, done that, Patrice. We want to see creating a true future for Africa. So Lewis needs to hire Annie, because Annie has the head to create the right content for us.
The Annie from India.
Yes.
Yeah, that was. Did you know them before today?
No, she's smart, man. She's smart. She's fire.
Yeah.
I think we need to bring Annie in. I need Lewis is building an LMS to give value to different teachers and different clients. Lewis, what do you think? We need to bring Annie in and support her business. And support her business because she's also doing very, very good work. So, and you see, Patrice has the content we're looking for our teachers. We're looking for our students. She has a good head. She understands this thing very well. I'm a homeschooler, Patrice, and I have been for many years. And so Annie really touched my heart in very deep ways today. So, and I would like us to do something. And she represents the future for the young people of Africa and whatever you call the third world, Patrice. And if we can empower, the center wants to enter that space, and we want to continue to do what we do. May the Lord bring us more Lewises so that we can come around them, Patrice, build a second BSA group that will last another 5 years, Patrice. Lewis is a leader. He is an influencer. He can make that happen. He is a Nina inside him, and he's the type of guy who can, attract many good people around him. And so I pray for him that he will catch this vision and that he will draw others around him and cause us to transform the next generation.
Well, today he said he's watched how other winners have been ambassadors, and he committed that he will be that. So you've got a year, Mr. Ambassador, to help raise the bar, to help move the movement, right? To be a net giver. I hope to see you at next year's Best Practice, by the way, Lewis, in Orlando, Florida.
It'll be fun. He said he wants to come to Florida, yes.
Yes. So, Louis, as we wrap up here, I do want you to first share what's in the future for Mzinzi. When you look ahead, 5, 10 years from now, what's in the future for you?
Okay, so to start off, we are looking to acquire around 1,500 schools within the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years. And this in itself is a demonstration of technological advancement within those schools, thus impacting around 2.4 million students. That's a very great mission for us, because then by this impact, especially with the world of AI today, it becomes very instrumental to see that we can create purpose-led students who are able to learn on their own, self-learning, and also embrace technology to the point of creating the best ideas of Africa, and that for me is the biggest vision. Beyond that, today, like when I was thinking around it, I asked myself, why can this journey not lead towards building an institution where we are able to impact more as well, with the abilities of learnings that we have also taken up. So if I do get myself into coaching, I'll most definitely have Frank being my mentor, to see that I unlock that very conversation, and Patrice being my father figure in that very conversation. So I'm working to it. I do believe that the future whole is quite bright. I'm quite young. I'm energetic at it. I feel like I've just gotten a rebirth towards the vision of Africa, the Pan-Africanism in us, to see that we can provide solutions that are locally built and built for Africa to scale. So I'll most definitely be looking forward to the visit to Ohio, actually, so that then we can actually learn from what superior companies have done, and also bring that skill into Africa and build up the very Orlando, actually. Yeah, to see that we are able to build up the society we need for Africa. So,
Amen.
yeah, that's the vision for me, yeah.
I have my eye on Africa as an investor and an entrepreneur myself. Began with renewable energy, but I'm looking at education and real estate, and of course technology. People like you make me feel better as a potential investor in Education Africa, because you're bringing this system together. And so I'm so excited about what you are doing. Looking forward to seeing you in Orlando. And now you've won $10,000 minus 20%. That'll be $8,000. So what does that mean? What does that mean? So you're going to take the you married or single?
I'm married. I'm actually seated next to my wife here. I mean,
tell her I said hello. So are you going to use the wife out, the family, or the partner says no, it belongs to the business? So how are you going to use your word?
So it's a win for us all. So I'll obviously have a little stake shared across my people. My team is very instrumental towards this journey. I most definitely would want to see that they are motivated towards the learning that we've taken to this journey as well. God as well will be part of. He's actually the bigger stake, because he actually has given us the skill and the knowledge to this. My wife, my kids open school, and today when I was leaving home, I told them that pray that daddy wins. If daddy wins, we're gonna go to somewhere. So I know the moment they heard that I won, I know they couldn't even sleep. So I can tell you for sure that there's a lot of stake coming to it. So I'm really proud to have been awarded this very win, so that then it is a symbol of success in the stories that we are creating. I didn't say this, but my background, and my mom just called me saying that, reminded me of how hard I struggled in my academia in the humble beginnings. And she told me that every single time I'll remind her, Mom, kindly pray for me, I'm going to sit for an examination. And I can tell you that in itself reminds me that it's all from prayer. So God listens, and so every single opportunity you get towards bringing it out and moving it forward and paying it forward as well, it's valuable in itself. So
that is incredible. Did your mom watch the competition today?
Oh yeah, she did. She actually told me the pledges.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, proud. She told me the pledges were very deep, and it actually says that I should work towards those pledges, each and every one of those. So I have a greater commission now. I have to work towards making sure my mom is proud every
Oh
single
my
day. So I
goodness.
have more pressure now than I had in the beginning.
It is incredible. No, that was why your mom. She should be proud. She made a wonderful son. Well, Louis, don't you leave. Frank, don't leave yet, because I do want you guys to give some advice to our people. But before we do that, listen. If you enjoyed this podcast, I want you to share it. By the way, Frank, I think Juan Rodriguez earlier, I saw him. He said, "You are the goat of coaches, man." Yeah, there it is. Frank is the goat of the Nehemiah coaches. Well,
Rodrigo is such a wonderful man. He has the best heart in the world, as you know, Patrice.
yes.
And I humbly accept he's thinking of me as a good coach. But we only have one goat in Christianity, Patrice. It's Jesus Christ.
Amen. So next year, Juan will be hosting us in Orlando. And Louis, I told Louis, as his business gets sustainable, man, I love to see him be among our coaches. I mean, this kid, he has potential, Frank.
He has a spark, Patrice. He has that
him. If you don't recruit him, you will not be doing yourself a favor.
Patrice, it's not easy to get Louis to this point. Just know that. Just know, getting there is a miracle. The ahead is easier. Getting there will be tough.
I love it. You know, they say the greatest talent, I always tell people, I said, the successful schools like Harvard, Yale, they're known not because of their academics, but because of the quality of the people that go there. And they spend energy in recruiting top talent. People don't go there and become smart. They go there smart. Right? So Nehemiah and it's not, our success is not measured by what we do, but by who we bring in. And so top talents like you, Louis, help us, because you can help us read our mission. You can be a huge asset. And so as you draw others in, right? It's kind of like when you found a good thing, you bring others to it. So Louis, to whom much is given, much is required. And so don't leave yet, because I want to give some advice to people. So listen, if you enjoyed this podcast, I'm sorry, before I go there, if you want to know more about Louis, here's his website, mzzizi.co.ke. Go there, learn about him. If you run a school you only clients only in Africa and Kenya, or beyond Kenya?
We can support any region. The infrastructure is literally ready, hosted on cloud servers as well. So currently, we've actually just opened a branch in Uganda. So we are actually we are in the scaling conversation. So anyone
if you're running a school, reach out to them. They will bring systems around you. As a matter of fact, Frank, you know who needs to know about him? I'm gonna email him today. Our good friend, what's his name? No, Marie. Yeah, but I was thinking about in Malawi. I was thinking about Steve Chartier. They're doing a school there.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, if you run a school, own a school, reach out to Louis. If you're thinking about investing in an opportunity, reach out to Louis, because he's taking investors, and it's a good thing to invest in, because this incredible thing he's doing. It's a quadruple bottom line. If you want to know more about Nehemiah Kenya, reach out to Frank. His email address is there, where you can connect with him. If you're anywhere in the world, because our coaches can coach you anywhere in the world, and you want to be coached by the winningest coach, reach out to him, and he'll serve you. He has classes going on: biblical entrepreneurship, serve with love, identity and destiny. He has coaching one-on-one group with BSA, a wonderful opportunity. Each year he brings a group here to America. Next year we're going to be in Orlando. If you're going to be a part of that, reach out to him. If you're part of his BSA program, guess what? Your trip to America is free, other than your traveling and lodging. Everything else is covered just by being in that BSA coaching program. So take advantage of it. Reach out to him, and learn about the various opportunity that you can be among this winning community. If you want to know more about Nehemiah, Entrepreneurship Community, the global work, you can go to our website, nehemiahecommunity.com, nehemiahecommunity.com. There you can learn about our training program, not only in Kenya, but all over the world. You can learn about our coaching program, one-on-one or group, or you can learn about our access to capital, how we can connect you with other investors who might be able to invest in your vision, or you can learn about becoming a member of our community. Join Lewis and 4,600 other members who are building companies around the world, from Asia to Africa, Europe, Latin America, to North America, and all over the world. So we'd love to have you reach out, join us, and we can together fulfill the purpose and plans of God in the marketplace. Now, with that, it's been a great Nehemiah week. And I do want to ask them, our theme was around technology and AI. So let me start with you, Lewis. People are watching and listening from all over the world, and they're saying, they may have, I have a devotional coming out on Monday, talk about do not fear AI, right? And literally making a biblical case for why people should not be afraid of AI. But there are some people, Lewis, who are concerned about the changes and all the technology coming, not just AI, but others. And their concern is about its potential negative impact on ethics and potential negative impact on jobs. So, in some entrepreneurs, there's a learning curve, right, in being able to adapt. So, what advice would you give people around why should they be open to new technology? What advice would you give entrepreneurs who are listening right now and who are watching around that?
Okay, so thanks. So when I look at AI, I keep resonating to services that have actually existed over time. So look at a computer today. Prior to that, we had either drums in Africa that would send messages, transmit messages from one point to the other. Then came paper, then came media, and dissemination of that media through services like Google and all the rest. So the question here wouldn't be whether AI is good or bad. And recently, someone even asked that we don't even know what AI is. If you were to speak it in a language native to you, you don't even have a name for it in your language, in your mother tongue at all, because it's still new within the world as we know it today. AI is only as good or as bad based on the people who are using it. That's what makes it good or bad. It's not really around the whether it's bad. It's an instrument of use. Anyone who farms will use a farm tool to actually produce, and you have to use a tool to produce. AI in its case is actually a tool to productivity. Those who use it become better at it. Those who don't cannot compete with those who do. I can tell you proficiency in language has become a little bit of a case in many. And when you're asked to write an email, the conversations around how do you actually scribble out the email. But with a simple idea, all you need is AI, and it will be able to unpack that idea to the very language you are thinking. So it doesn't break the thought process you have. It actually improves and betters you around it. For jobs, I think those who are building their world around the jobs, around AI, especially in their specialities, I'll say a good example for us in software world, building code is always one of those tasking jobs. And AI has literally saved us million of time frames that we would actually write code today, because you can actually have your good friend Solomon respond to you around how do you rewrite that code to be more efficient. So for me, Patrice, I think it's a question of utilizing the tool towards productivity, and the ethics of the tool itself is primarily dependent on the ethics of the individual.
Oh, what? You should have been one of our speakers. I mean, that was so articulate. By the way, you mentioned Solomon. How do you like Solomon? I've heard your coach.
I honestly loved it. For sure, I most definitely want to have a second call with you. I think I have had customer centricity as one of our core values, and implementing Solomon in my business will be a very good plus towards customer satisfaction. So I most definitely loved it.
No, let's do it. Let's do it. Let Frank make sure he sets it up, because now you, as a winner, you're a diamond member. You got a year, so you get 30 minutes coaching on a monthly basis with any of our coaches, and Frank can connect that with you. Man, Louis, congratulations, Frank. What do you say? He was so good. Let's see what the coach said.
What do you say after that, Patrice? You don't want to look irrelevant. Patrice, let me just have a moment here, because I thought about, if Solomon can coach like that, what's my job? And Patrice, that's a good question. Does that mean I have no job? No. It means I can coach 300 people.
Amen.
Right now, today we have had a big issue, Patrice, about how do we replicate yourself? How do you find the guy who wants to do what you do? What if I can coach Solomon to think like me?
That's right.
To respond like me, to care for people the way I care about people. And the good thing is Solomon has no stories, Patrice. He doesn't have the feeling of talking to you nicely and then he will land the plane. He just lands the plane. He says, this is what you need.
That's right.
So what I said, Patrice, I can coach 300 people. Say 100,000, whatever. I can do that now. So what is my choice? What do I decide to do? Patrice, I believe that for me, I think about this VUCA situation: volatile, uncertain, and complex and ambiguous. And Jesus answers the prayer of, what's his name? Quickly, so that I finish. Peter, he says, launch your net on the other side. And Patrice, when he launches his net, pause there. Could that be the technology we are being asked to use, Patrice? Could we launch our nets on a different side? And he says, no, God, I already talked to these people. I know how they behave. No, you launch your nets on the other side of the boat and let the Lord bring the result. Amen. I believe this is the net, Patrice, we need to go in with and say, I'm going to trust God to speed up this end time work, to speed up this message, to get it out there and put it, train somebody who can do what I can do it faster, do it better, and I can do the other jobs. I can find a way to create jobs for people. I can now build a company. I can do the strategic work, because there's things that I cannot do, but I can do them every single day. So, Patrice, what should we do? My thinking is this: launch your nets.
Wow, well said. By the way, you wonder, who is this Solomon they're talking about? Well, Nehemiah just hired a virtual coach recently, and we've gone live with it. His name is Solomon. He's our lowest paid employee, but one of our most effective. And so if you want to be coached by him, go to 866-954-8291. 866-954-8291. It's free for our members, particularly. Of course, if you want to become a member, you can just reach out to us and let us know. Frank, we're going to be spending time at the next Training Coach Refresh around incorporating AI in our coaching practice. And actually, we're now working on introducing AI as a coaching tool within the certification. And part of so essentially, what our coaches will be more effective. So if you think about this with that AI, every one of our coaches eventually will have their own agent that can be a coaching assistant for them, and helping them be a more effective coach. Right, that's kind of where we're going. So, guys, wow, what good advice, Louis! Congratulations again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Frank, keep winning, brother. You're an inspiration. As an African, I'm very proud of you. As an American, I don't know. I'm torn there. But congratulations. A win is a win. You keep winning, brother. We do not bring it down, because then it won't challenge to keep raising our game, right? You're challenging to raise that game. Well, guys, with that said, see all of you guys at Nehemiah 2025. You can register by going to Nehemiah to our website. But let me pray for you guys. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord enable you to steward those talents that are under your care, as Solomon and as Louis and Frank are doing, and steward them in such a way that one day you will hear those wonderful words. Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. He'll not make you rule much. God bless you. Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Patrice.